So let's have a quick recap of last session. It was late in the evening on Marpineth 30th. And we pick up in the Warrior in the Cup in West Meandering. With Cosette making wisdom saving throw. And she rolled pretty good. Rolled a 13. And as such, she rolled a 17. Misread that. Rolled a 17. And as such, she rolled a 17. And that's that. The Goblin Bread was excellent. Most of the group stayed in the Warring Cup. Eska ran some quick errands. First to the Cup and Rat, met up with Coalesce and Tedda. Had a brief discussion of some stuff. They had noted that they have started to explore the sewers. They were very stinky, but there were patrols and weaveworms. Most importantly, Tedda said that the portals, he believes that they are manufactured rather than naturally occurring. And then there's just a general agreement that any messages that need to be passed can be sort of like traded off through the ship in the dock. Eska goes and sleeps in a tree, and then we pick up next morning. Smokey pulls out the lock of hair from the mystery pouch, and it changes color to match Smokey's fur. And then Silveris takes it, and it changes color to match Silveris' scales. And then the group meets up. Cosette has mixed feelings about infiltrating the group. But she's starting to believe that maybe the Hand of Aegis actually can do some stuff. And while there is concern about the risk still, there's a little bit of faith in their abilities. And seeing Elnath really kind of helped give her some peace about the situation. That was Claire. Sorry, that was Claire and Cosette talking before bed. My notes were poorly written there. And then wake up in the morning. 1st of Uktar. We're into a new month finally. It's chilly. The snow is flurrying a little bit. Ground is hard underfoot. Eska summons everyone to breakfast. And there's discussion about the conversation with Tedda and Coalesce. And Silveris asks how deep with the calm the group is willing to go. Eska says, maybe not too much, but they know things. And obviously there's concerns about magic within the city walls and so on. And there's just general discussions about how to navigate around the weaveworms. Ardor visits a goblin haberdashery in West Meanderings, owned by a goblin called Greylock. Purchases some tobacco and learns a little about Greylock's history, and learns that he travelled over from the Toad Squats after the Red Fang massacre, which Vidor was later reminded was brought about by the Rolliver's Red Fangs in the Toad Squats. HOA meet up with Marius in the Cup and Rat in Dark Orchard. The information is that the Hand of Aegis is to rescue a female elf-seeming person named Lavinia, who will most likely be located somewhere hiding in a small nook off one of the larger sections of the sewer close to the area near the Cloud Lodge, or under the Cloud Lodge, I suppose. And there's an agreement to meet back up after around dinner time, where Marius can arm and armor the Hand of Aegis to their normal level, so that they can be protected as they head into the sewers. And that is where we picked up, or where we left off. where we're going to pick up. Any questions before we get going?
I forget. We didn't bring any, like, the armor that we decided not to, like, wear around town. That's not with us even on the boat, right? Is that back
I
near the
believe.
coast?
Yeah, I think it's probably in
The shrine?
Did you leave it? Yeah, I was thinking the shrine, maybe in the basement.
Okay. And whose smart idea was that?
I think it's probably mine. We've gone too deep.
But we're supposed to get some. We're supposed to get some stuff from the calm. They're supposed to give us some equipment.
Yeah, this is intense reconnaissance.
So Marius sort of stands up, walks off, just like pats the table and gives you a little nod and heads out. So it's right around lunchtime.
I guess we need to follow him, right?
Nope.
We don't?
I'll just get up and start following him. He's like, see you later. We're like, where are you going?
You're meeting back up after dinner.
Oh.
He said, take the next few hours to get whatever ready you need to get ready to take care of your affairs.
Oh.
Make sure our affairs are in order before we go.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
write our wills and
Do we have any affairs to take care of?
He assumed you might.
Or are we just going to be day drinking?
Day drinking.
All right, if you will just add a -2 to everything on your character sheet, that'd be great. If you don't have anything to do, you can just gently day drink. That's perfectly fine.
I suppose I'd be a bit worried that if we do too much, we might end up accidentally getting embroiled in something else. As is our way.
who wants to go on a horse ride?
Don't think
Yeah,
there's
probably
anything
not.
I would want to do.
Okay. All right, well, if no one has anything to do, we can just pick back up when Marius returns.
Are we, just before Marius returns, are we all settled on like anything? I know we had a couple of options.
Oh, well, I guess this is a question. The kind of expectation was we'd do this evening, right? That they were going to arm us and then we were going to go. Because there was some urgency.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we might be able to hope that our two friends might have come back by that point. It might be worth us stopping in the wandering past the other place potentially to see if they're there and because they might have some intel.
If it helps, you are in the other place currently.
I was gonna say, aren't we?
Oh, we
aren't
switched
we
pubs?
at the?
Oh, sorry.
Well, we went to the back to the Cup and Rat, which is where we had met Colas and Teta before.
Oh, okay. Then yeah. That's handy. That was the only thought I had, because I don't know if outside of that, I don't know if we really have any idea of what's a good place to go in.
We could go back to the boat and just leave a message saying, if they come by, to come by.
That's true. So we let Adad know to send them our way, and that should cover the places that they think to go, I guess.
Okay.
And then do we just
Oh.
hold out at the inn, or does anybody
Do
have
we-
anywhere they want to go?
Do we let Adard know what we're doing? So that, I mean, because there's the potential that if we somehow get stuck for more than a day, I mean, they might just leave without us.
Where did we leave it off? I know that we said we might be here longer, and that he said it would be like, what, 20 gold a day or something?
Mm.
So my assumption from that was that he was going to wait it out, but I don't know if he was expecting payment up front or if it would be 20 gold a day expected when we showed back up.
I think the understanding was that it would be, you wouldn't have to pay up front because you might not know how long you're going to be.
So I suppose when we wander over there, we could just, while we're telling them to send them our way, also say, hey, we might be another day. I mean, let's face it, if we get captured down there, we're kind of screwed anyway, so... At that point, do we care?
Nope.
We saved 20 gold.
We just make new
We
characters
might be
at that
dead,
point.
but we'll save 20 gold.
Yeah.
Phew. Alright, so you're going to let Adar know that it'll be at least another day, realistically. And to send Carlos and Teddy away if they end up there.
Yeah.
One, two, three. Okay, 1 second. Let me just. Cosette, please roll a percentile die for me.
I love when Phil gives us random awards. $28.
Okay. So Adard, lets you know that, he hasn't seen the others come back yet. But like not since early that morning. And they just said that they were carrying on with whatever they were doing. But that he'll make a note to send them your way if they show up.
Sounds good.
So anything else before Mara shows up? In that case, you have some more food, I assume, for dinner. Probably a few drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someplace out here.
Interesting.
Is it one of those places you can grab like a kebab, just kind of walk in?
Actually, yes, you could totally do that.
Okay.
The barman, they know that they're not serving good food. They're not going to kick up a fuss if you accidentally happen to bring in other food. But like I said, if you will just deduct a couple of gold for expenses.
Expensive kebab.
It's probably more the drinks that are adding up here.
Tavares isn't drinking.
Oh, make it 1 gold then.
There we go.
Make it 2 coppers.
Barter's drinking. Go.
I think
I was about to say,
yeah.
make it a
Let's
couple
not
of
get
gold
carried
again.
Silvari says he's not drinking, and then I scoop it over.
Wow.
So, Marius comes back in and... Right. I see you are here. Let's go. And just leaves immediately. Doesn't wait to see if you're following.
This time we follow.
Excellent.
Savaris is sitting there. Naval.
So he leads you directly behind the Cup and Rat, through a couple of little alleyways. The houses aren't too close, but you're sort of in the space, sort of between the backs of buildings. So it's not necessarily like cramped alleyways, but you're sort of in the spaces where nothing really happens. And after a couple of twists and turns, he comes to what looks like the back of another building, though there is a shabby wooden door on it. Again, this is another construction mostly made of what looks like possibly even driftwood. It's not a very sturdy building, but he knocks on the door a couple of times and then just turns the handle and heads on inside. And you quickly realize as you head in that the Com really have a thing for digging things under unassuming buildings. Because once again, there is a trapdoor leading into a fairly well lit basement, cellar, call it what you will. Armory, I suppose, in this case would actually be pretty accurate. And so as you head down, it's about 30 feet long, this room, only about 12 feet, 15 feet wide. And the walls are just lined with weapons and armor, various shapes and sizes, different construction. There's metal armor, hide armor, leather armor, weapons of different types, ranging from daggers through to great swords and bows. And he says, so, there's our armory. And then he kind of gives you all a very sort of like squinty stare and says, I know exactly what is here. If you take anything we do not agree to, you will find several of these items sticking out of your back very quickly. You have been warned. Now, what does everybody need to be properly up to your usual standards?
I think armor's the main one.
What do you usually wear?
She checks her character sheet. Splint? Does that sound right? Adamantine splint was the type of splint, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just splint.
Ask for the adamantine splint.
Yeah, just. Actually, had a +4 flail. Do you have any of those sitting around?
No, I only have this +2.
Ooh.
Won't be good enough for you. I'm sorry. And we'll just give you this dagger instead. So he, without spending 20 minutes redressing your characters, you are able to find equipment that is approximately like what you're used to wielding back on the mainland.
Sweet.
So you can get, bows, regular weapons, regular armor,
Shields. They have shields, right?
Yes. Yes, shields.
Okay.
They will not have your regular iconography on, obviously.
This time the protection is just gonna have to do by itself.
Yeah, so you are fully equipped. And he says, so, do you have a plan?
We are going to try and be very sneaky. I think this is a
Yes.
solid plan.
Is a plan. The solidness or not was yet to be decided, I think. Do you want me to take you to the entrance I talked about before, or have you figured one out?
I guess we didn't see our friends.
Not yet, no.
Do we just go to his entrance then?
I mean, it was the recommended entrance.
Yeah. Maybe we'll meet them en route if they're not back yet. Maybe we'll run into them.
Yes.
Are we okay to go to his route?
I think so.
We don't really have a better one.
No.
He says, okay, so. I believe I mentioned this before, but the basic layout of the sewers, there's one main vein, I suppose you could say, that leads mostly down the center of the city. Everything else spurs off there. So, in theory, if you are super, super sneaky, you could just go straight down there, and you'd end up on the other side of the city, no problem. But I'm sure that there are patrols down through the middle. It's the widest area. We also know that there is more protection towards the area under the core. So, I would proceed with caution.
Speaking of the patrol,
Yes.
are they frequent or random?
I believe they are most likely random. It's hard to know for sure. We don't have consistent information coming back to us. It's been difficult to fully build up good protection for our people, so unfortunately I don't have better information than that. I just know that there are a number of patrols. Not all of them have weaveworms with them, thank goodness. Some you may encounter just a couple of guards. There may be other things down there too. I would expect that. Things tend to make a home in dark, damp places, so be careful.
Before we leave, how many people be armored?
I'm trying to find. I'm wearing medium armor from my rental piece.
Oh, that's right. You got breastplate, didn't you?
Yeah, but I think it's not as clanky.
Breastplate is, yeah, you don't have disadvantage on stealth checks. I was just wondering if it makes sense for the couple of us that do to instead.
I'm
drop
actually
down
gonna
the breastplate.
opt for the compromise, and if anybody's reaching for heavy armor, Silvarius will recommend against it.
Okay, so Cassette will take breastplate instead of splint.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a while. It took me that long to look it up. I haven't opened this book in a long time. It's 14 plus your dex.
Yep.
Which might not be so much for you.
No, I don't really want to take that. If we're going down someplace that we don't know where we're going. And
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I mean, it may make sense to just everyone do the heavy armor then. I just was... For me, it goes from 17 to 50. Jump. Yeah, okay.
the extra 2 AC.
Let's try to do the pass without trace. Oh. I mean, it might not work for every circumstance, but at the same time, too.
Alright, I'll stick with the splint then. Despite Silvarius' looks.
There's going to be a lecture if this goes wrong. You know that, right?
There's going to be a lecture, whatever we do.
It's fair.
I'm just making a note here.
That's what we
that
look forward
despite
to.
Silvarius' stares, Claire and Cosette grab Flint instead of...
I like to
breastplate.
think that Silvarius keeps, like, as they're sort of saying, help me pop
Okay.
this on, Silvarius, like, instead puts it on a table and keeps handing them breastplates, and then they put it down and try and grab it again, and he just grabs it off them, and it's just a constant struggle.
Benny Hill music playing in the background.
Uh-huh.
Beep, 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 beep.
Well, if he's right, it'll be us 17, Silvarius 1. So
Yeah.
he's got to get on the board eventually.
Alrighty. So, Mario says, "Okay, so I can lead you to the entrance. I forgot to mention before. You definitely want to go at low tide, which is pretty soon. At high tide, is gonna get a little interesting down there. So there is a tidal river, right? So the water will come up during high tide, and will fill down through the sewers, pushing all of the sewage away. And then at low tide, it is filtered out and away, and so it should be relatively easy for traversing. But during the higher tide, there's going to be a lot more water, a lot more filth flowing around, that sort of thing. So just bear that in mind. You have, I suppose, 5 or 6 hours before the water level will be rising again. Well, I mean, it'll start rising before then. But, high tide, about 6 hours. So, just bear that in mind. So, any other questions before I take you to the entrance? Okay. So, short walk back to the Bridge of Tears. The entrance is right near there.
Oh, yeah, as we're walking, she'll casually bring up, like, does he know why it's called the Bridge of Tears? Just as they're walking in casual conversation. The meaning of the bridge.
Sure. So he says, well, you know, it's called the Bridge of Tears because of all of the crying faces. There's, as far as I'm aware, there's nobody alive who can remember it not looking like that, if that makes sense. Like, it's been there since before living memory. It's almost, you know, the meanderers, they say that it grew out of the rock to create a place for them to cross safely. The river can be dangerous at times. It's quite fast in places. So yeah, it's
magically created.
They argued it was just the land providing for them, meeting a need. A little cuckoo, if you ask me. I don't know that that's strictly possible. Especially for then to have all these faces with the good faces, the bad faces. But, you know, I don't know too much about that. I typically tend to leave the gods to others.
Do the people see it as like since it's a useful thing that they see all the time, see it as like a good omen, or because for an outsider it's a little disconcerting?
Oh yeah, no, they like it. It's part of the identity of West Meandering, you know. And I think, you know, the children they throw stones at the evil faces, and then they play games, and perhaps they are lucky to not get eaten, but who can say? But I think those who are of a religious persuasion tend to utter a prayer as they walk towards the north side, you know, for protection or what have you, guidance, that sort of thing. You know, there are several faces on the east-facing side that are of deities. So I think people are sort of identified with those, you know.
Yeah, okay. I think that gives her a little bit of comfort. I think it created more questions than answers for her, but she was just more curious.
And soon enough, you're heading back towards the bridge, and you can see the fiendish faces mourning and crying as you approach. And he says, so, the entrance is just the other side. We'll cross over, and then just further east, there's a way down. So, if you're prepared, we can head down.
Let's go.
I am ready.
All right. Let me please have a marching order. And I've said that, and I am not quite ready to write it down. Oh, yes, I am. Never mind.
I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
Is it quite?
I'm guessing Faerun and I to be towards the back.
I'll probably be in front of them, but behind the sneakiest portion of the team.
Yeah, in dangerous circumstances, I usually try and take up the rear, or if we are not sure, but I feel like this is one where it might be more useful to be towards the front, because we're not as worried about stuff coming from behind.
Smokey would go behind Eska.
Okay. Where's Key Doc's gonna be?
How will is there any natural light as we're coming up, or not natural light, but is there any is it just like pitch black darkness?
Yeah. So the sun's getting ready to set. Wait, has it already set? Let's think. No, it's probably on its way down. So it's nearly set at this point. And you can see there's a large metal grate that heralds the entrance to the sewers from here. And the way it's situated, it's just above the water line right now. And so you can tell if the water rises, then water's going to flow in. And it has a down, there's like a little downward chute, and you cannot see at the bottom. There's like the slope is probably, it's not very steep, like 45 degrees, maybe less. So it's not like a plummet down or anything. But there is a constructed, actually it would be carved, tunnel down into the rock. But you do not see light at the bottom.
For now, Kedox is going to remain on Silvarius's shoulder.
Okay.
One last question before we head down. So that we know how to be the weave worms. We know that they can sense magic within, 60 feet or something. Do we know if they can sense the presence of magic or the casting of a spell? And what I mean by that is if somebody cast a spell that lingered and then walked into their range, would that alert them? Or is it the initial act of casting that they notice?
I see. From what I understand, it is the disruptance in the weave that facilitates magic. So, I believe that it is more likely that they would not be triggered by an effect, a lingering effect. I think it is more the casting of magic that really disturbs the weave.
Okay. I wanted to have some idea before we went in because we may use magic to disguise our path at times.
I think that would be wise. Understand that, in theory, the same rules apply because you would be in Drakesburg, no magic, right? However, I think it's pretty clear that you're not really supposed to be in the sewers either. And I think it's more likely that using magic will probably be the least of your worries if you run into Drakeswarden.
Yes, it was more the sort of theoretical scenario of we are trying to sneak around some, and
Right.
That was what had me worried. If the very presence of magic set them off, then that would really hamper us. But if it is more that initial lighting of the match, so to speak, then rather than the flame burning, then that would not be so bad.
I think that is probably a more eloquent way of how I've had it described to me, yes. I am not I'm not trained in the arcane ways, but some of my companions are, and they have said words to that effect, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I wish you good luck. If you are able to find Lavinia and bring her out, we will be very grateful to you. We'll figure out the way to properly repay you, but right now, the task is getting her safe.
We'll do our best.
All right, Bardor, you sliding down?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this incline down, and you've got about 30 feet of this gentle-ish slope. The ground is very slippery. It is also really not great smelling down here. Mostly what you're getting at the moment is a very sort of brackish scent mixed with a hint of filth. You obviously can't see colors with no light source. So everything's just weird, murky grays. And as you get to the bottom, there's sort of like a rough channel vaguely in the middle of this tunnel. It's about 15 feet wide, the tunnel. And you can see in front of you for about 30 feet before you see the tunnel start to turn. And you're understanding roughly where you are in relation to the city. There's probably going to be a good few minutes of trudging before you even get to where you would pass under the city wall. But there's no light sources that you can see right now. You just see a tunnel leading ahead.
Are we going to do usual system?
What is the usual system?
A little bit of a gap. To allow those more armored to stay within contact range, but not be as much of a giveaway. If we come upon somebody, there'd be time for us to warn them, and also they can cast enough light to see their footsteps.
As he says that, light kind of illuminates in Silvarius's palm. He's got like a loose grip, so there's light shining through his spaces in his fingers from a rock that he picked up. Cast light on, and he can just close his grip to kind of make it get real dark, and softly open it to let the light through.
And I think now Severus is the only one who needs that, right?
Oh, Cosette does have those goggles?
Cosette has goggles.
She brought them with her.
I don't know. Cosette, do you think you brought your goggles?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't have any, unless somebody told me they.
She's been wearing them the whole time we've been here.
Yeah, definitely.
Just Mad Maxing through town.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that anyone would object. So, all right. So yeah, Cosette's got on her little goggles, which unfortunately does reduce passive down a little bit. But how could that possibly
Joke's
be a
on
problem?
you, yeah.
How could that go wrong? Okay, so I've got marching order. Let me have everyone please make just a general. This would be a dexterity saving throw, actually.
Oh boy.
Remember, if you are close to Cosette, you do get a +2, is it?
2. Yep.
9.
Okay.
3.
6.
23.
Oh boy.
19.
That's 10 foot, right?
So, Bador, as you are working your way down, you hear something behind you, as you're sort of like assessing what's happening in the tunnel, and you just instinctively step to the left as Eska comes sliding down in a heap next to you. It's not that graceful. And then Smokey immediately barrels down into Eska. Oh dear. And then Silverius comes flying through.
Oh dear.
And so, Eska, as you're getting up and you're sort of trying to pull Smokey and Silverius off you, then there's this clanking sound as head over heels, Claire comes tumbling down and lands straight on Silverius's back. Cosette, you kind of see this happen, just like in slow motion. As you kind of see everyone kind of plummet out of view in a giant pile, and just kind of like step to the other side of the path, and are able to just gently step down without issue. Perfect.
Zed just shakes her head and keeps walking.
Yeah.
I imagine that Marius is like, his expression is not good
Yeah.
as he walks away. It's like,
He just
what did I
kind
do?
of says to Cosette, says, I hope that wasn't you being sneaky.
There's a sigh as I go in my pouch, and I mutter something, and I throw some like burnt up sprig of something or other, and I cast with pass without a trace on everybody.
Okay.
I think
as
we'll
Bart
need
does
this.
Perfect timing.
It's hard to be sure, but just kind of looking around the group, well, none of you can see Bardor right now. But looking around the group, you feel like everyone's harder to see. It's like the shadows just cling to you all more. And it's only when Silverius kind of like loosens his grip on the stone that anything's really clear. But yeah, beyond that, it's dark, and you can feel the dark. But yeah, Bardor, you can lead the way.
I shall do so. Are we gonna roll stealth?
Yeah, let's have everyone roll stealthy, as it were, stealth.
Plus 10.
It's just a straight roll,
Oh my
right?
goodness. My rolls are being terrible.
So it's regular stealth roll plus 10.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
I don't even know if it's going to be good enough.
Thank you, plus 10, Barter. 21 Silverius.
Technically, that's a 21,
14.
but it's a 1 for me.
I gotta roll twice. Hang on. First one was okay. Oh, okay. 24.
22.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Okay.
Wow, I rolled horrifically as well.
Well, it's a
Yeah, that's really bad.
I mean, it's a plus 10.
Yes.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. As I'm like sassing everybody, and then I like trip over myself. I'm like, damn it.
It's because you can't see yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry, just making a note of everybody. Now, Smokey, is that with your plus 10?
Yes.
Okay, just confirming.
I feel like this happens. Well,
But for finding a good cake. Yeah.
All right. Your rolls have been noted. So As you head forwards, as noted, there is a little bit of water in the bottom of the tunnel. If you stick to the sides, you can mostly avoid it. There's the occasional drip. The more perceptive of you do see every now and then there's actually a drain at the bottom of the pipe that suggests that there may be something else below this tunnel that is helping lead the water away as well. Maybe helping to deal with what could be lots of water during a high tide. Every now and then you hear a little squeak. A little squeak.
Like a mouse?
No. Not like a mouse.
Okay.
Rusty swing.
Bardor, you would estimate that it's probably going to be something like 10 minutes before you get to the where the entrance to the city should be, give or take. And you're kind of like figuring that out. You do notice that actually the tunnel you're in doesn't really seem to have any spurs off it particularly. There's one, actually, I will say. Comes up after about 4 or 5 minutes. That you guess maybe connects to somewhere in Dark Orchard. There's still no light, besides what Silveris chooses to cast. And, yeah, every now and then you just hear a squeak. Let's have... you know what? Let's have Bardor, can you do me a favor? Can you please roll me initiative? That would be great, thanks.
Didn't take long.
Okay.
20.
So, as you're trekking along, you hear a squeak that sounds a bit bigger, accompanied by a little splash. And you're kind of peering out, looking into the tunnel. And it's only just in time that you see a very large rodent charging towards you. But you do react in time, so I'll let you make an attack as this giant rodent comes barreling towards you.
Okay.
Like unusually large?
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
Rodents of unusually large size.
Looking how my stuff works here for first turn combat attackings.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let's see. I'm go because I basically I don't have my bow out at the moment. I've just kind of like been hanging out like with my Alcata side, so I was gonna use that.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see. It's a 14.
14 hits.
Okay. So 10 slashing damage.
All right. So this large rodent just springs forward at you and you just about react in time, and the blade's already in your hand. You just upward slice, and you just rip the thing in two. Its momentum carries its head like into you a little bit, and you just see this huge nose that's kind of like come to rest at your feet. You suspect that it probably is able to figure out where you are based on smell, given its remarkably large nose. The rest of the group, you're kind of like giving Barter a little bit of space, and Eska's the closest one. You just hear this squeak, a quick, and then a little splatter as things fall into the water.
If I bend down and have a look, does this look like... I mean, I know it was a large rodent. Is there anything worrying about it? Does it look weirdly mutated? Does it look like just something that's grown big naturally?
Give me a perception check at disadvantage.
Okay.
'Cause it's really dark.
30, 11.
11. I mean, you kind of have to stick the bits back together to gauge how big it is properly, but kind of just looks like a big rat.
Okay. No extra limbs that I can see or anything?
Yeah, spawn.
Sort of horns?
Just a big old nose.
Okay.
That's about it.
I stop examining it. Good work.
Okay.
I say to what I assume might be Bardo.
I give a thumbs up, but then I'm just like, oh yeah, thanks.
All right. You may continue.
Okay. Well, I will. Are there any more squeakies?
Make a perception check. This will be regular because you're not using your eyes for this.
While he's doing that, how wide is the tunnel and how tall?
It's about 15 feet wide. And in the middle is about 15 feet tall.
Okay.
It's kind of rounded.
For the moment, then, I am going to, having examined that, I'm going to pull my bow out, just in case.
Okay.
18.
Okay. There's certainly squeakies.
Okay.
You don't currently hear any big squeakies. You're hearing some little squeakies. But yeah, you would estimate you're still probably a couple of minutes out from the city wall.
So, like, we're looking at. It's pretty straight, though.
It's sort of vaguely following along the river, which isn't entirely
Right.
straight. So, usually you maybe get sort of like 20, 30 feet, maybe 40 of straight before it jags again.
Yeah, we'll just try to stay quiet, and I'll pull out my bow now.
Okay.
And you said it was. There's like is it kind of like where there's a stream going down the middle and like walkways up on the sides, or is it all kind of just like a wet central area that we're walking through?
Yeah, it's basically so there's a wet central area. The top is rounded. The bottom is less so. It's more just got like a little dip in the middle. It's close to flat in the middle. It's closer to flat at the bottom than the top, certainly. So you can walk three abreast, and one would just be dipped down a little bit in the channel there.
Okay.
But there's not a huge sort of like height variation between the sides and the middle.
Right, but there's no like walkways on the side.
Not really, no.
Okay.
No, it's just slightly higher, so the water's in the middle. Definitely talking inches rather than feet in height difference.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so you carry on. Eventually, you think you might be hearing a louder squeak again. Maybe a couple.
Is that just Bardur?
How far back are you, Eska?
I'm right behind him because otherwise I lose him.
Right up. Okay. In that case, I would think then, so we've got, Badur and Eska right up, and then probably Smokey pretty close too.
Yeah.
Okay. So certainly, you three could all hear, some loud squeaking.
I ready my bow in case anything jumps out.
Smokey would get his claws out and ready.
Okay. Soon enough, you hear little splashing noises getting louder and louder.
I guess I'll just hiss back to the other. Oh, I don't know how close they were keeping at the moment. If we had split much. How far back were you guys keeping?
I don't know. I mean, I would say maybe.
Because I can communicate quite a ways, but I don't know if you want to be all the way that far back yet.
If we're not into like the more like dangerous zone, I would only imagine maybe 30 feet.
Okay. I guess she'll just message back to, I don't know. I guess cassette. Rodents approaching. Big rodents. Just whilst they're splashing towards us.
Okay, she'll whisper that back to. It's just Silverius and Claire, but me.
Okay. The three of you at the front, give me initiative rolls, please.
Uh, 7.
Jeez. A 7 as well with a natural 1.
10.
Okay.
We're rocking
Smokey,
it.
you see 3 more large rats galloping towards your group. They sort of blend in really well, so you can't see them until they're about 20 feet away.
Oof. I will say, there's 3 more. They're right on top of us.
You are first with a 10.
Oh, I get to attack first?
You get to act, yes.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Okay. I get to roll a d6. All right, I gotta roll. I'm just sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm rolling my 20 now.
She's already doing damage.
Oh, I was seeing what dice I need for damage.
Oh, okay.
11 to hit.
So you're charging at the one that's sort of directly in front of you?
Yeah, I'm doing a claw attack at him.
Okay. So as it's galloping towards you, you gallop back. And there's this wonderful moment where the two of you sort of leap at each other and everything slows down. And then this weird sign pops up in front of everyone that says versus. And then the claws start flying and there's this tufts of fur everywhere. but your claws fail to make purchase in the thick matted fur of this rat.
You hear angry cat noises from Smokey.
You hear angry rat noises. It is going to try and bite you.
Okay.
A 12 does not hit, correct?
Correct.
It fails miserably. Then the other two descend upon you. And they try to bite you too.
Oh boy.
Aye. Well, if a 12 didn't hit, an 11 certainly doesn't.
More angry cat noises.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So, you realize that as they kind of circle around you, that's what they're doing. They're circling around you. They seem slightly intelligent. And they are trying to sort of pen you in, and they haven't really realized what's going on. They've since you've kind of isolated yourself, they're trying to isolate you further. So the three of them circle and are trying to sort of pincer you in. But this flurry of claws is keeping them at bay, and they're unable to bite despite the their pincer move. Escambador, you've rolled basically the same. So you can act simultaneously. You see Smokey being surrounded, circled by 3 rats. So far, it doesn't look like anyone's managed to make any meaningful purchase here.
I mean, I'm gonna say Eska can go first because of my 1.
Okay. Yeah, Eska's just sort of getting her arrow ready when she feels this brush of fur past her as Smokey dives in. She's taken a little aback. But she will take aim at one of the rodents and I guess fire a shot off.
Alright.
Oh boy, it's been a while since I've done this. I guess I do that. And that. 18?
Yes, 18 hits.
Nice. And 6 piercing damage.
Your arrow goes through the front leg of one of the rats and then into its chest, and it suddenly stops circling and topples over.
Nice.
It appears deceased.
Eska will then start to draw another arrow and back up the passage with her movement and just say, "Big rats." Just as a helpful encouragement to the others that are there. And that's their turn.
Okay.
All right.
So
Butter.
about 20 feet ahead from where we were, that's where Smokey and the rats are.
Yes, about 20 feet.
Okay. So bow in left hand, but I'm gonna draw my falcata and charge in. And I will attack.
Okay, and as you run forward, you see, or you almost you feel and hear the arrow come flying past and puncture one of the rats, and it topples as you're running in the direction of Smokey.
18.
18 hits.
8 slashing damage.
Okay, bring the falcata down and chop right into its chest, and you see it just drop immediately.
And the next one, so I get an additional attack on the first round of combat. Would this be considered a new combat then? So, like, in theory, I would have 3 attacks. Yeah. So have we determined if it would be at the very end whenever the Dread Ambusher bonus would kick in? Or would it be the second attack?
I think it would be the third.
That's fine.
Because it's, yeah.
That makes sense. Just wanted to clarify. Okay, so I will swing at the other one. Let's see. And again. That was a natural 20. 27 for 9 plus 6, so 15.
Yeah, you just slice it in half. Smokey, you go from like diving into this into the rat, and then suddenly realizing that all three have surrounded you, and you're getting ready to start lashing out, and then you just hear this boom. And there's a slightly wild-eyed Bardor standing next to you. You see Esker's walking away slightly with bow in hand. And there are currently no rats threatening you any longer.
Ooh. Very nice.
I nod my head, not knowing if Smoking can see it or not.
I do have dark vision, but I don't know how dark it is in here. Or how close Bardor is actually standing to me.
Well, it's more his he's got issues.
Yeah, I do have issues. I have an ability that basically negates dark vision.
Ah.
Yeah. It's
He is
it's
invincible. I know I used the wrong word.
I guess Escaron, seeing them seeming to be okay again, will say, "Oh, never mind."
You just see
It seemed more
rats
scary
split
than I
in half.
thought.
Yeah, as the other three kind of come around the corner, you see Smokey surrounded by rat bodies.
Is Smokey sort of tapping them around with his paw?
He's kind of sniffing at them, and his fur's all poofy.
As you kind of look around, there's like another bend, just like 10 feet up ahead. But as you kind of start heading towards that way, you can see the stone tunnel that you were in gives way to like meets up with metal work, and you get the feeling that you are reaching the entrance of the city sewers now.
It's like a little bit nicer.
A little nicer, and you suspect probably a little more. Well, this is you're probably approaching the point where it's going to start forking off and so on. Pardon my language. Let's take a look, shall we?
Oh, it's the classic
Haven't
big
seen a
black
map
square
in a
of doom.
while. Right.
This may kill people's computers, and if it does, I'm so sorry.
I think we should explore to the south.
Yes, I was trying to do the thing where it. Oh, hang on, focus ping. Is that it?
I see
don't know
the
if that-
ping.
Did it move your map? You may already be in the right area.
I mean, the map shows us and a hallway.
Okay, good. So this isn't completely to scale in terms of, well, for one thing, you're all very small there. But so this corridor is about 50 feet wide. So that being the case, you know, Bardor, you can see 90 feet. That's the other thing that you notice. This is the first time that you've been in a corridor that you can see down this far. I say corridor, tunnel, whatever, pipe. It's just a straight line, and as you peer down and just keep staring, you think maybe like, really hard to judge distance, but you can see some points of light far ahead of you in a straight line. Really hard to gauge how far though, because it's just this dark tunnel, and then somewhere down there's some lights.
Okay, I'll let the Leska know that there's light way down further.
She can kind of see it too.
I know better, I can see.
This is the one thing that everyone can see.
Hey, Smokey, there is light far on down the tunnel.
Silverus, I'm assuming that Kedox is in don't be a night mode.
Oh yes. Maximum anti-nightlight mode.
He is negating night lights as he goes.
And seeing light in the distance, he'll go ahead and just snuff out his light cantrip.
Okay. It is now pitch black, which is challenging. But I'm trying to remember. Yes, you can use Kedox as a proxy light, like seeing source, can't you? I think.
Yeah. And that's probably with Kedox on his shoulder. He'll probably every so often just take a quick glimpse through to make sure that everything's kind of clear. And honestly, he'll probably go towards the wall just to give him some like forward trajectory, something to brace on.
Gotcha.
Like if you're navigating in the dark in like a cave and whatnot, it feels much stranger when you don't have a wall to anchor yourself into the space.
Okay, what's everyone else doing as you kind of get into this tunnel? What's the plan?
I guess Eska will suggest at least a bit of distance, but maybe I don't know if we want to go more than 30 feet just because of reacting to stuff. But that also means you're not very far behind for noisiness, so I don't really know. Not that any of us have been quiet yet, but you know. What does everybody think for a distance? Yeah. I mean, I know I can like message back up to 120 feet. So we've got up to that if we want to stay in communication if anything pops up. It just depends on how much of that you want to take.
I feel like we should stay within that reach.
It's a long way to catch up if something goes down.
That would be like 3 turns to get to.
Do you want to stay like 60 feet back or something? And that way you should be in like spell range of stuff. Of a lot of things. That's sort of a happy medium, I suppose, because I feel like 30 feet might be too close. Yeah. Yeah. Does Smokey feel fairly confident about his stealth abilities?
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Excuse you.
Whether that's actually going to play out or
Well,
not.
this is our chance to find out how Smokey does in team stealth.
I mean, technically he should do well in team stealth, but my rolling tonight has been appalling.
I'll let Phil get away with Pitch Perfect reference. And let me get away with knowing the Pitch Perfect reference.
There's nothing wrong with Pitch Perfect. How dare you?
Trying to kill things. I'm gonna let that slide.
All right. So, Bardor, since you're at the front, sorry, I was mathing. Math is hard.
I'm gonna be my usual thing of directly behind Bardur, so that if anybody tries to shoot at me, there's a chance they hit him instead.
Yeah, but they're not gonna see me.
Nice.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah. But you're still a shield.
The
So,
invisible the invisible dwarf
the
shield.
invisible shield. Yeah.
There is a theoretical possibility that could
I'm
happen.
going to continually go to the other side. So it's just
Just like we.
we're just snaking through. It's like, get off of me.
So as you head forwards, it's about 30 more feet, and then you see up ahead the path veers off to the left and to the right. This looks like a narrower corridor in each direction. And you can tell that the lights are getting... You are getting closer to the light source. Let me amend that. I was going to say the lights are getting closer. But you can tell that you are getting closer to the light source.
Is the light source, like, is there a light source coming from either the left or the right?
Currently, you do not see any lights to the left or the right. You just see... It may even be more than one up ahead. And you're starting to get an idea based on how far you're moving now relative to the area around you. You're starting to get a feel for maybe how far away it is. And from where you are right now, it's still quite a long way. But you would guess, if I sort of move you guys to say here-ish, and we'll say that at the moment this kind of represents where Bardor is, and everyone else is kind of their appropriate distance behind. So yeah, this is 15, 30, 45. Yeah, okay, this is about right. So you would guess maybe another 90 to 120 feet beyond this turn is where those lights are.
Okay. Are these squares 5 feet?
They are 15.
Okay.
Do I mean 15? Hold on, does that math? That doesn't math. They are 10. I was mathing that very poorly.
Good to know, though. All right.
But you could see a little further. You can definitely see to here now.
Zop. Okay. So seeing it, I'll whisper back that there's turn-offs ahead, left and right. Don't see any lights from either side.
Shall we get up to them?
Yeah, we can take a look. I'll go left, you go right, take a look down.
Okay. And I will just message back to the group. Once we get up to them, I'll just message back. Just having a quick peek left and right. Will report back momentarily. Unless anything exciting has happened by the time we get to there.
Okay.
Yep, for help.
So as you move up,
So,
we'll move you.
so am I staying back with the group, or am I still following you guys, or is that up to me?
I assume you could be up with us.
Yeah, that's kind of. I
Okay.
guess it's kind of up to you.
You could be the lookout if you
I
want.
mean, I would kind of like follow maybe 10 feet behind you guys, and maybe stick to the Bardor's side with my. And then once you guys got to the corner, I would like to peek around. I would stop and put my back up against the side of the tunnel, and watch Eska, as I'm also kind of watching Bardor out of the corner of my eye.
Gotcha. So as you get up to here, you can now see this. So, Bardor, you can tell, first of all, that up ahead there is a larger area. That is definitely where the lights are coming from. You can all tell that that's where the lights are coming from, actually, because they're lights. And that's how lights work. And what you can see up there is the light source is coming from the right side. You can't see clearly the actual light sources, but you can see that there are lights there. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Like you can see the presence of light, but you cannot see the lights themselves. You can also see what looks like some crates and boxes and so on in that area. And because light's there, so you can actually see basically all of this area here. And I'm going to tell you that you can see, just going to do some very bad drawings, but right here, oh, this is worse than I imagined. Right there is a weave worm. And standing next to it, you can see a looks a bit like the Drakeswarden, but also a little different. There's a chap right here. There's a bunch of boxes like here. There's some more boxes here. And you can also make out another guy back here.
What might we estimate is different?
So the guy who on the map is dark green. You can see from here, he is there's some sort of flickering torchlight or something that's coming from, as you're looking at it, the right hand side. He is more heavily armored than you're used to seeing the Drakeswarden. Typically they tend to wear something like breastplate or something like that. This guy looks like he might be in full plate mail.
Okay.
And he is wearing a rather ridiculous floppy hat with a huge, well, actually two huge feathers, one green, one yellow.
Hey, we're in the Empire.
Whereas the guy sort of like kind of behind the boxes from where you're at, he appears to be much more akin to the standard Drakeswarden that you have seen in the past. So that's what you're kind of seeing directly ahead of you. As you look left and right, you see, you can also hear like there's some quiet chatter, not a lot, but a little bit. As you look left and right, you see not a lot really. You see corridors, There appears to be some passages leading off the left corridor. There's a couple passages leading off the right of the left corridor. Apologies if that's confusing, but that's just what's happening. Eska, as you look down the right corridor, you see it ends up in a T-junction.
Was I
There's a
looking
large
right?
tower. I think in my head you were looking right and Bardo was looking left.
Yes.
I think that's what he said.
Okay.
If Eska listens, it's hard to say.
I mean, you would see which way she went.
Was
At
Bardo
least.
insinuating that we were gonna have a quick look down? Are we just does he look like he's gonna like walk down there a touch to see what's down there, or is he just looking around the corner?
I literally just peeked my head.
You have no idea.
Well, okay, I guess that's true.
Okay.
I just peek. So whatever Eska is figuring out.
Okay, I just peek for the moment. I'll assume that the insinuation was there in what you said.
I mean, I interpreted what Bardor said to be that he was just peeking around the corner,
Okay. Okay.
not fully going down to explore.
Yeah.
You can tell you guys are somewhere in the region of 90 to 100 feet away from the weave worm currently.
I guess once we get back to the middle, I'll say, so what next?
Looks a bit scary to go ahead.
Should we try and see if we can find a way around?
I think that might be best.
I wonder when Bardo will come back.
I'm right here.
Oh, whoa!
We've been here the whole time.
Okay.
Oh, so hard to see you.
Just look down.
I can't see you.
I think we have to try to go around.
Do you have a preference of side?
I mean, I assume.
It sounds like they both go that direction.
Yeah, do we just pick one? And just go with
Sure.
it and hope for the best.
I think so. Smokey,
How do we
Smokey, which one? You pick.
Oh dear. Smokey pulls out a coin from his from his pouch, and I don't know what would be on this money. I guess heads or tails can work in fantasy world too.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
So he just says heads or tails, and he flicks the coin up in the air and waits for one of them to say something.
Tails?
Smokey, make a sleight of hand check, please.
This is what I was worried about.
Ting, 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 ting.
Oh, it's not good.
Oh no.
7.
You could just yell down each corridor and see which one echoes the most.
Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, in the low light, you flick the coin up, and you struggle to see it on its way down.
Do I see it? Do I see Smokey failing to catch it?
You can make a dexterity saving throw at disadvantage.
I mean, I'll take what I can get.
Can I jump in on that too?
Sure. Also at
Yes,
disadvantage.
Of course. What did you say, Dex?
Oh, disadvantage. 7.
Oh boy.
Come on, Bardor. See it.
Now,
We are the worst.
now.
Oh dear.
I was looking the other way.
So Smokey, you flick this coin up, and you lose it temporarily. Eska, you realize what's happening. You try to reach for it, and you nearly get your hand sliced as Bardor tries to do the same and reaches out with his hand that's still holding his falcata and nearly catches you. However, none of you catch this coin. There's a little push as the coin lands in the water at your feet. And there's just this moment of dread as the three of you, well, two of you look at each other and one of you looks at the other two. Since the other two can't see the first one. And then you look down the corridor. And you definitely get the impression that someone's kind of peering down the corridor. Even if the coin didn't make much noise, there was definitely a rustle of people trying to grab something.
Eska's gonna... Hang on. Yeah, Eska's gonna cast Druidcraft and make the sound of rats squeaking.
Smokey would plaster himself up against the side of the tunnel, trying to stay out of sight and keep quiet.
Okay. Make a...
She's gonna... My range is 30 feet, so she's gonna try and do it 30 feet in front of us as well. But, you know, I mean, that's gonna still be coming from our direction, I suppose.
Hold on a sec.
I could put it in chat if you want.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I need another stealth check specific to this. And then a deception check.
Oh, okay. A stealth for casting and deception for the...
Yes, because it does have vocal components.
Okay. Would my stealth gain the benefit of my moon elfness?
Hold on, I just closed your character. I need to open it again.
I got stealth in darkish areas. I mean, I got advantage. Yeah, advantage in darkish areas.
No, because this is vocal.
Okay. Okay, we can have one good roll tonight. Hey! 27 on the stealth. Oh, 7 on the perception.
Okay, so you mutter, and you mutter very quietly, and you try to recreate the rat noise, but you can tell it's not very authentic very quickly, and it becomes apparent that the guards didn't buy it. So much so that you start to see them heading towards you. And as they start to head towards you, I'm going to need to take a pause.
On the plus side, nothing exciting's happening.
Yeah. So, and when we come back, next time we'll pick up with whatever happens happening.
Well,
It was ominous.